Hey guys, this is Debater, a debate coaching app powered by Vapi. We have two types of debate formats in Debater, LD and panel debate. We'll get started with LD first. I'll choose a resolution and a negative side. In my behalf, I'll use the ChatGPT voice agent to debate. So let's get started.
Thank you. Let us begin with what's at stake in this debate. We face a world where artificial intelligence is already woven into the fabric of our lives, guiding medical diagnoses, ensuring safer roads, even fighting hunger and disease. The question before us is not whether AI has risks, but whether its benefits, measured in lives saved, opportunities unlocked, and problems solved, outweigh the dangers it poses, especially to personal privacy. First, consider healthcare. AI systems now detect cancers and heart disease earlier and more accurately than many doctors. According to global organizations, AI diagnostics closing the gap for rural and underserved communities, providing expert level analysis for. When an algorithm identifies human scan is not just saving one life, it is offering future to a family, a community, a nation. These benefits will outweigh the standard of care for all. Second thing about public safety, AI and ethical line. The benefits of AI are just possible, they are real present and growing. With wide stewardship across far away peril, tonight is not an option, it is application. The future demands courage and conviction. We can do better, not just safer, but more just for all. I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you for that opening. So you mentioned that AI offers incredible benefits in healthcare and public safety, and that privacy risks are more about human choices than the technology itself. My question is, even with regulations like GDPR, how do we ensure that companies and governments actually prioritize privacy when there's such a strong incentive to collect and use data?
That's a fair concern, and it's true that incentives to collect data are powerful. But regulation isn't just a set of suggestions, it's backed by real enforceable penalties. Under frameworks like GDPR, companies face massive fines, sometimes in the billions, if they mishandle personal information. That changes the calculus. It becomes more costly to abuse privacy than to respect it. But it's not just about punishment, there's also public scrutiny and reputational risk. In today's world, a privacy scandal can destroy consumer trust overnight, which most companies can't afford. Governments, too, especially in democracies, are beholden to their citizens and can face political consequences for overreach. Ultimately, it comes down to vigilance, both legal and societal. We have independent watchdogs, investigative journalists, and civil society organizations dedicated to holding both companies and governments accountable. And as AI becomes more central to our lives, the public's demand for transparency and privacy protections only grows. So while the incentives to collect data are real, so too are the counter-incentives to safeguard it. That balance can and must be struck, and history shows we are capable of finding it.
All right, from the negative standpoint, while the benefits of AI are significant, the risks to personal privacy are substantial and cannot be underestimated. Even with strong regulations, there's always a potential for misuse of data, and once privacy is compromised, it's often irreversible, so it's crucial to weigh these risks carefully.
Understood. I'm taking careful note of your emphasis on the irreversibility of privacy breaches, the limitations of regulation, and the need for caution despite AI's benefits. I'm ready for your full negative case and any further arguments you'd like to present.
Depending on that, when personal data is collected and used by AI, it often involves vast amounts of sensitive information. Even with the best intentions, there's always a risk of data breaches or misuse. Additionally, the sheer scale of data collection can lead to unintended consequences, like profiling or discrimination. So, therefore, we must approach AI development with caution to ensure that the protection of individual privacy remains a top priority.
Thank you for laying out your concerns. Let me ask, first, you argue that once privacy is breached, the damage is often permanent. But given that, do you believe the risks to privacy are so severe that we should forego life-saving applications of AI in areas like healthcare or emergency response, even if those applications come with robust privacy protections? Finally, you stress the scale of data collection as a unique danger. But compared to older forms of surveillance or data storage, what makes AI fundamentally more threatening, especially if we have enforceable limits on what data can be collected and how it's used? Thank you.
That's a lot of great questions. I'll tackle them one by one. First, I'm not suggesting we forego life-saving applications of AI, but rather that we remain vigilant and ensure robust privacy protections are always in place. The goal is to find a balance where we can still benefit from AI while minimizing the risks. Second, I do believe that with proper oversight, like algorithmic audits and transparency, we can significantly reduce issues like profiling and bias. It's not inevitable, but it does require continuous effort. Lastly, what makes AI uniquely challenging compared to older forms of data collection is its ability to analyze and act on data at an unprecedented scale and speed, which can amplify both its benefits and its risks.
Thank you for those clarifications. That's helpful context, and I appreciate your willingness to engage on the importance of oversight balance.
Alright, let's wrap up this debate. After the debate, Vapi's call analysis feature will give the user debater a super detailed and thorough analysis of the debate. It'll highlight where they fell short and suggest areas for improvement, along with the judgment of the debate. Plus, it will include the debate transcript and also thoughtful and insightful ways on how to improve the user's debate skills. Alright, let's dive into panel debate. Just like LD, we can choose a resolution from the template or create our own custom resolution. Instead of taking sides, we express our views on the resolution Select the moderator style and can have to 3 AI panelists with their own instances, including custom stances. This is made possible due by WAPI squads. Squads allow us to have multiple agents on the same call with their own instruction and seamlessly transfer between agents while keeping the user informed. In our case, we use squads by having panelists with different types of stances in a debate.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining this panel. We're here to explore the nuanced question of whether the benefits of artificial intelligence outweigh the risks to personal privacy. Each of you brings a distinct perspective, which will help us dig into the ethical, idealist, and skeptical sides of the debate. We'll start with brief opening statements from each participant to lay out your core positions. User, would you like to begin with your opening statement? What is your stance on this issue, and what key considerations shape your view?
You. My stance is that while AI offers tremendous benefits in terms of efficiency, innovation, and even quality of life, we do need to be very cautious about personal privacy. I think that with the right ethical guidelines and regulations in place, we can find a balance where we enjoy the benefits without compromising privacy.
I agree with the idea that AI brings enormous benefits and that ethical guidelines are important, but being cautious isn't enough. We need to be bold about setting lines that must not be crossed. From an idealist perspective, personal privacy is not just a technical issue, but a core human right, something that shouldn't be bargained away for convenience or efficiency. The right thing to do is to put privacy first, even if it means slowing down how quickly we adopt certain AI technologies. Look at what's happened with social media. Once private data is out there, it's almost impossible to reclaim, and the harms, like manipulation, discrimination, and surveillance, can change the fabric of society. If we allow incremental privacy losses in the name of innovation, we may wake up one day to realize we've built a world we no longer want to live in. So while I see the benefits, I think the moral imperative is to draw clear boundaries up front and only use AI in ways that uphold the highest standard of privacy, even if it means turning down some tempting opportunities. Isn't it better to sometimes say no to new tech than to risk our fundamental rights? Panelist Beta, what's your take? Is there enough evidence that those right ethical guidelines and regulations even work? Or are we just telling ourselves a feel-good story?
Honestly, I'm not convinced that ethical guidelines and regulations are enough. The problem with relying on the right rules is that we've seen time and again, whether it's data breaches, targeted ads, or mass surveillance, organizations find loopholes or push boundaries until something goes wrong. Take GDPR in Europe. Sure, it's one of the world's strictest privacy laws, but companies are constantly being fined for violations, and people's data still leaks out all the time. And let's talk about enforcement. Who actually makes sure these regulations are followed? Often, the regulators are underfunded and outgunned by tech giants with huge legal teams. Meanwhile, most people don't even know what's being collected or how it's used until after the damage is done.
Thank you, Panelist Beta, for highlighting the challenges around enforcement and the practical limitations of regulations like GDPR. User, given what you just heard, especially the skepticism about whether regulations can truly protect privacy in practice, how would you respond? Do you believe there are concrete ways to make ethical guidelines and laws more effective, or do you think the risks of loopholes and under-enforcement are too great to overcome?
That's a great question. I do believe that ethical guidelines and regulations can be improved and made more effective. It's about ensuring that enforcement is strong and that regulators have the resources they need to keep up with technological advancements. There's always going to be a bit of a cat and mouse game, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to set those boundaries and hold companies accountable. So I'd say it's definitely possible to strengthen those protections and minimize risks.
Right, this has been panel debate. Just like LD, we get analysis on panel debates as well. We get participation feedback, argument feedback, and overall improvement suggestions along with the transcript. This is Debater, powered by WAPI, where leaders learn to argue.